A dramatic police pursuit plays out on Saskatoon streets, what led to several vehicles damaged and shots fired. Calls to get tough on crime, how the province wants Ottawa to crack down on criminals. And Saskatoon's approach to dealing with encampments, how frontline workers are getting people off the streets and into safer spaces.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with what was a chaotic scene that played out on the streets of Saskatoon. It all began with a couple of stolen vehicles, followed by a police pursuit and shots fired by officers. CTV's Stacey Hine has the details of the dramatic day.
Several police vehicles seen chasing this stolen truck through the city. Saskatoon police say during the nearly 40-minute pursuit, a 32-year-old man drove recklessly through the downtown and residential neighborhoods during the morning rush hour, striking two police cars. One witness says it was like a scene from a movie.
And I seen the SWAT truck following him on top of the SWAT truck, the guy on the roof. He was out with a big rifle out, and we're just kind of passing the food bank, and I hear the big bang, like he shot at the truck, and like, holy smokes.
Police say the pursuit started just before 8 a.m. Officers were called to Wiggins Avenue South and Cascade Street, where a man reportedly stole a truck from a sewage company that was working in the area. Officers found the vehicle, but the driver refused to stop. Police say they made several attempts to stop the vehicle, including firing their guns. The man was eventually driven off the road on Circle Drive near Valley Road. He was taken out of the vehicle and transported to hospital for treatment for a dog bite shortly after. Saskatoon police say the Saskatchewan Serious Incident Response Team was notified, but since the suspect was not seriously injured, it does not meet the requirement for CERT to investigate.
We are thankful that this turned out the way that it did and that there weren't injuries reported or associated with that, either civilian or police officer.
Police say before the pursuit at around 6:40 a.m., the 32-year-old man allegedly assaulted a taxi driver and stole their vehicle. He then drove into a convenience store in the Westmount neighborhood. Police allege he stole money, used bear spray, and then fled the store on foot. Police say the incident remains under investigation and charges are still being determined. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Premier Scott Moe wants to crack down on criminals. He and his government caucus were in North Battleford today to hear about concerns facing the community. As Keenan Sorokon reports, they heard about the serious crime affecting the area and want all levels of government to do something about it.
It's the Criminal Code of Canada. It's not the Criminal Code of Saskatchewan.
As the province continues to get tough on crime, it says it needs some help from the federal government with a letter sent to Federal Justice Minister Sean Fraser asking for changes to the Criminal Code of Canada.
We have a few individuals in this community that are 4 to 5 years over the age of majority who have over 100 charges or entries.
The province is keying in on bail reform, looking to keep violent repeat offenders off the street. The letter sent to Fraser wants Ottawa to also look at considering violent offenses without weapons, impose stricter bail provisions for drug trafficking and organized crime, while strengthening sentences. Premier Scott Moe says plenty has been done on a provincial level, but until more changes are made federally, its reach is limited.
Our intent is to eradicate crystal meth and to eradicate fentanyl from communities in this province, and we're going to do our level best to aspire to that.
A federal Ministry of Justice spokesperson says legislation is being tabled this fall to strengthen many things highlighted in the letter, but it's the provinces that play a critical role in how they are applied. Local leaders are also imploring the province to consider more urgent care and addictions treatment spaces to prevent people from needlessly going to jail.
We're not asking for more people in prison. We're asking for the right people to be in prison.
Part of this bail reform will help us change that image of the Battlefords and hopefully bring more people to our wonderful community.
The RCMP will soon launch its training center, while the Saskatchewan Marshals Service will open its regional headquarters here in the fall, as the community looks to shed its stigma as an unsafe community while preventing a small number of people from perpetuating a bad reputation. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, North Battleford.
A specialized court program that helps people deal with addictions has expanded in Saskatchewan. The first sitting of drug treatment court was held last month at North Battleford Provincial Court. The province says the goal of the drug treatment court is to guide people to recovery rather than incarceration. To participate in the program, people facing drug-related charges must plead guilty to their criminal charges. But instead of serving time in custody, they are required to complete 12 to 18 months of programming with support services that help them with addiction and anger issues. They also receive educational, parenting, and cultural support. The Battleford's Drug Treatment Court will serve the Battlefords and West Central Saskatchewan.
This is not a slap on the wrist. This is not an easy path to follow. These are individuals who are taking accountability. They, as they come into court, one of the requirements is that they accept responsibility for their offense, and then they enter the process of the programming and the resources that they need to address the underlying cause of those crimes.
The Drug Treatment Court program has been running since 2006 in Regina and Moose Jaw and has more than 156 graduates. The number of homeless encampments in Saskatoon is increasing now that the weather is warm. Carla Schenkrick now on the work that is being done to balance taking down the temporary shelters while looking out for those who face homelessness.
This tent being thrown out is the sad reality for many who set up encampments in our city. This site at the community garden bordering 20th Street has seen numerous encampments this week.
Those encampments are, it's very sad, but 7 in one site, that means it's a lot of, homelessness is going on.
This crew from Crocus Co-op helps out dismantling camps, assisting fire crews trying to keep up with the demand each day.
It's almost 9-10 sites a day, sometime 4, sometime 2.
The fire marshal says more encampments are being reported now. They also say they track folks who are unhoused and are seeing unfamiliar faces.
An increase in individuals that are not known or previously known to us. So we don't really have a complete picture on what that looks like yet.
Encampments are reported in all areas of the city. Fire crews move in within 24 hours and inform residents that they have to vacate or will be removed.
We do enforce, and we do have the authority to enforce the occupancy of an unsafe living condition. So we do serve notice to immediately cease occupancy.
Crocus Co-op is part of a network of groups that work to help to do this work with fire crews, and they specifically hire people with diagnosed mental illness. Sometimes people who were homeless are now working with them, making a wage.
That's what we do, right? We help them. We help them get their ID back. We help them get back on their feet.
It's only a third of the way through July. These crews expect to be kept busy for a while.
An absolute steady increase. Yeah, it's sad to see this in our community.
Occupants like these are given the choice if they want to take their belongings. If not, they're hauled away to the landfill. Carla Schenkrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Meanwhile, there has been a significant decline in the number of unoccupied government housing units in the province. The latest numbers obtained by the NDP through a Freedom of Information request shows that there were 2,150 vacant units at the end of December. That compares to a little more than 3,000 a year earlier. It represents a 12% vacancy rate on more than 17,000 government housing units. Despite the improvement, the NDP says that's not enough considering the amount of people living on the streets.
I think number one is get these units repaired. We have in Regina, like we said, about 440 vacant units for whatever reason. Let's get them livable and let's get people in them.
The provincial government will spend $9.2 million this year upgrading 285 Saskatchewan Housing Corporation rental units. The goal is to repair units to reduce the number of vacancies. Warman RCMP are looking for an inmate who escaped custody north of Saskatoon. RCMP say 39-year-old Michael Landry, who is serving time at the Saskatoon Provincial Correctional Centre, was with a work crew near Highway 11 yesterday when he escaped. He's accused of stealing a van just before 1:30 and taking off. He is facing charges related to the escape and the vehicle theft. He has a large tattoo on his cheek and numbers tattooed on the back of his neck. Saskatoon police say he is not the suspect involved in the pursuit in the city this morning. Anyone who knows where Michael Landry is should contact police. Another community in northern Saskatchewan has declared a state of emergency. Officials with the community of Pachinak are beginning to evacuate people today, with more leaving the community tomorrow. Since the main highway is closed to the community, evacuees will have to be flown to Buffalo Narrows and then bus to Lloydminster. Meanwhile, the province has issued another fire ban for parts of northern Saskatchewan as the fire risk remains extreme. The ban issued by the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency will be in effect as of tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock and spans the area north of the provincial forest boundary up to the Churchill River. It prohibits any open fires, controlled burns, and fireworks. The ban does not include ATV or UTV restrictions at this time. The SPSA is also encouraging local municipalities and RMs to consider fire bans if they are needed. As of 11 o'clock this morning, 65 active wildfires are burning in the province. 13 are not contained. All right, Jeff, tomorrow is likely going to feel cold compared to today.
Well, today was quite warm, and yes, tomorrow's going to cool off, and we might see some, extra cooling overnight because we do anticipate the possibility of some thunderstorm activity. We're getting some rain, but it comes with the double-edged sword of lightning, and that could create some problems in areas that don't need any lightning strikes for fear of starting forest fires. But we do have some watches and warnings in effect with severe thunderstorm warnings up in northern Saskatchewan, and then some watch boxes that are extending into parts of central and southern Saskatchewan. We'll have more on that for you later on.
Despite rising costs and increasing time commitments required from organized sports, a league in Saskatoon is giving kids a chance to play multiple sports free of charge. John Flatters has more.
On Tuesday and Thursday nights in the summer in Saskatoon, dozens of kids flock to Leif Erikson Park, put on their jerseys, and join their teammates to play one of 3 sports in the Saskatoon Tri-Sport League. For some kids, it's their first experience in organized sports.
He was like, come home. He's like, Grandma, we're going to do this. And it's like, okay. I was like, you excited? You want to do this? He's like, absolutely. So he's excited.
Kids 8 and above will meet with their coaches, get suited up with a jersey and the necessary equipment before practicing their skills. The second half of the session, kids compete against each other in games. And most importantly, there's no cost to participate.
There's a huge financial barrier to it, especially to organized sport. And so having the opportunity to give children who otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to participate in sport, to do that here has been really incredible.
The league's founder, a former Team Canada softball player, knows firsthand that playing multiple sports growing up have physical, psychological, emotional, and social benefits.
Just so many different benefits to multi-sport sampling and trying out multiple sports, and so we think it's neat to give these kids the opportunity, and they get to see what they enjoy the most and meet people along the way and hopefully enjoy themselves.
She also knows the value of being on a team.
Because they're on the same team for the whole league, they really form a tight-knit group, and there's a lot of camaraderie, some healthy rivalry between teams, which is really fun. And kids get a sense of ownership too. They look for their coach in their colored jersey and they run up to them.
This week, the kids switched from soccer to kickball, and they're already learning some of the finer points of strategy.
If there's somebody at third base, don't bunt it, but if nobody's out and you're the first person, bunt it and then just run.
And more importantly, how to be a good teammate.
I help people, and I'm a very good team member, and I check on people a lot.
John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The party is getting started in Craven. The campgrounds are open for this year's biggest country festival in Saskatchewan. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more from Country Thunder.
Marking his spot for the next 4 days, Brent Britton is getting comfortable at Country Thunder's campground.
Mow the site and then park the motorhome, level it, and we're done for the day, and we'll be back tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon sometime and let the festivities start.
Returning for the 15th year with his family, he says a community of people come out every year to enjoy the entertainment.
It doesn't matter, what side of the aisle you're from or any of that. None of that matters. It's just out here having fun, and friends from 20 years ago, friends from 30 years ago that you meet out here and run into all the time.
Britton is one of thousands of campers preparing for the province's largest country music festival.
The entertainment's really good. Like, you usually have some good
good closers and stuff. So this year is going to be Def Leppard, so that'll be awesome.
Over 20,000 people are expected to arrive this weekend.
Some of these shows that we do, they are legacy festivals. They're historical festivals, and we have a really strong base, a fan base that has been coming for years and years.
With 7 different festivals now happening across North America, organizers say lots of preparation goes into the events, specifically Saskatchewan's.
We all started here in 2005, and Troy started here in 1983, the first iteration of the Big Valley Jamboree way back. So we're pretty proud of the fact that we've built this brand across North America over the last 20 years, and it all started here in little old Craven in the Capel Valley.
Close to 20 musicians are lined up this weekend. The event will kick off with local talent from Shaunavon, the Hunter Brothers, who will take the main stage on Thursday night. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Craven.
Temperatures have been soaring across the province today. The community of Coronach in southern Saskatchewan posting the highest temperature in Canada. Damien Smith has more.
It's another hot summer day in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, well, this is just a hot air mass that we've kind of seen tracking from west to east across the country. So, yesterday, for example, we had some record temperatures set around the Calgary area. And so that same hot air mass has kind of moved east into Saskatchewan today.
In southern areas of the province, Assiniboia and Coronach both spent time as Canada's hotspots on Wednesday. In Assiniboia, the max temperature was 35.4 degrees, while Coronach hit 37.5 in the afternoon. According to Luke, landscape can be a big influence when analyzing how heat can be trapped in the south.
More of like a dirt or rock landscape versus like a grass or forest landscape. Those can get quite a bit hotter. So if you think of a place like the Badlands, say in Grasslands National Park or something like that, for example, like along the Frenchman River Valley, for example, like those are places that we know can get pretty hot.
And during these hot days, the city of Regina has splash pads to cool down local residents, as well as cooling stations scattered around the city. The Saskatchewan Health Authority is also reminding people to keep an eye out for signs of heat stroke and heat exhaustion when temperatures climb high this summer. Environment Canada also has guidance on how to stay safe during extreme heat. Temperatures are expected to lower in the coming days, putting most of the province back in the seasonal range ahead of more sunshine this weekend. But tips for staying cool apply all summer long. Damien Smith, CTV News, Regina.
A special performance last night at one of Saskatoon's library branches. Performers on Parade features professional performers in music, dance, theater, and more. Visitors to the Alice Turner Library last night were treated to a hoop dance performance by Lawrence Roy Jr. Each week, a different performer will visit each library in the city. The performance is run until August 1st. Still to come, why Ottawa could miss its self-imposed $10 a day daycare deadline, and digging deeper into Donald Trump's latest tariff threats. Watching CTV News Live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. More economic pain is coming our way if Donald Trump goes through with his threat to ratchet up the trade war with a measure that could hurt Canadians. He's musing about a 50% tariff on imported copper. More than half of our exports go to the States. Michael Couture has more from Ottawa.
U.S. President Donald Trump released another batch of tariff letters to more trading partners. They include Brunei and Libya, and the tariff rate ranges from 20 to 30%. Now, Canada isn't included in this batch, but the government continues to watch after Trump said he'd impose 50% tariffs on copper imports.
When it comes to the latest declaration from the president in the United States, we have not yet seen an executive order. Of course,
Industry Minister Melanie Joly says the government is watching closely to see if Canada is affected by any more trade action from the United States. It is worth noting a 50% tariff on Canadian copper would be significant. Of the $9.3 billion worth of exports in 2023, more than half went to the U.S. The next two biggest destinations for Canadian copper were China and Japan. Trade experts say instead of forcing countries to make deals, U.S. tariffs are creating new economic alliances that actually exclude the U.S. And that could be bad for the American economy. And Canadian lawmakers say the goal is to get a deal that works for workers in this country.
My job right now is to make sure that in the context of this trade war, I'm supporting the front lines of this trade war, which are the workers and the companies affected by the unjustifiable and unjustified tariffs.
And the clock is ticking. Canada's self-imposed deadline to hammer out an economic and security deal with the U.S. is July 21st. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
While several provinces and territories are meeting the federal government's target to implement $10 a day childcare, a new report suggests Ottawa will miss its 2026 deadline to implement the policy across the country. Rachel Aiello reports.
Oh my God, like what are we gonna do?
Patty Dunn is nervous. Getting her daughter Harper into daycare was no small feat.
I put ourselves on the wait list when I was about 10 weeks pregnant.
And now, with a second on the way?
I don't know what this means for us. Like, just because we have a spot already, does that mean that we'll have a higher chance of getting our next baby in?
Compounding this stress, living in Ontario, it still costs $22 for every day Harper is at daycare. And while it's better than what it was, she says getting that cost down to $10?
It would honestly give us, like, that peace of mind.
She's not alone. A new report out today found that while costs are coming down across the country, governments have more work to do to get to $10 a day nationwide by next year. 6 provinces and territories have already met or exceeded the federal target. None of it Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland and Labrador. But there are still 5 provinces where care costs more: British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia.
Although people think of this as a $10 a day program Canada-wide, that's the aim. How it's implemented is the thing that makes the difference.
It's not just parents feeling the program's growing pains. It's daycare providers too, because while fees are dropping, demand isn't.
Right now I have over 1,200 parents or children waiting on the list with only 500 spaces, and my 500 spaces are full.
Today, a spokesperson for the federal families minister touted the $27 billion investment to support province and territories in delivering more affordable childcare, and said the government continues to work with them to deliver on that promise. While that work continues, moms like Patty just want to see more spaces opening up as soon as possible.
It would help to, like, alleviate the stress.
Experts say in order to create those spaces, all levels of government need to work together to build up the early childhood educator workforce, which will take years. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A manhunt is underway in Calgary after 3 people were stabbed last night at the Calgary Stampede, police calling it a targeted attack.
At this time, we believe the individuals involved in the altercation were known to each other. The victims are all related or known to each other, and they also knew the assailants. The motive behind the attack remains under investigation.
The assault happened near the Euro slide. Officers also responded to 2 additional reports of people in medical distress in different locations. Police can now confirm all victims were teenagers. 2 are 18 years old and 1 is 15. All 3 are currently in stable condition. In Texas, the search continues nearly a week after those devastating floods killed at least 115 people and are believed to have left more than 160 others missing.
We will not stop until every missing person is accounted for.
Thousands of staff and volunteers continue to comb through the destruction as search and rescue teams from all over the country join the effort. Officials have come under increasing scrutiny over whether more could have been done to warn people ahead of the flooding. The governor said the Texas legislature will convene a special session later this month to investigate the emergency response and provide funding for disaster relief.
Joshua Beaudry here, and I play the jailer in Dan McDonald's play Iago Speaks. And this is Sky Brandon. He plays Iago, silent, brooding, plotting. This summer, we're taking our show to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. But first, we're doing a fundraiser show right here in Saskatoon this Saturday, July 12th at 118 Science Place on the UFS campus. Show starts at 7:30. Search Iago Speaks on social media or Iago Speaks fundraiser show on Google for tickets. Limited tickets available at the door.
And what's the weather going to be like, Jeff?
He speaks.
All right, guys, thank you very much. That's Sky Brandon and Joshua Beaudry, two amazing actors. And believe me, this show is terrific. I saw it back in 2022, so congratulations on them going to Edinburgh for the big, the granddaddy of all Fringe festivals. So once again, the show that's coming up is on Saturday. Curtain goes up at 7:30. It's the Drama Building, the Mitchell Building at Science Place there, 118 Science Place. So mainly cloudy conditions that day with a high of 27 degrees. So by the time we get to showtime, temperatures will be around 23, 22 degrees, so still a pleasant evening in Saskatoon. So get out there and support this show, and believe me, you will enjoy yourself. It is dynamite. 27 degrees right now in Saskatoon, 25 in the Battlefords and Prince Albert. And as you can see, the winds have backed off just a little bit. Onto our almanac, we can tell you that our daytime high was 28 degrees, 3 degrees above seasonal, 36, the record warm temperature on this date in 1947. The record cold temperature, once again, from 1893, 4 degrees was the temperature way back when and still stands. The sun came up at 4:57, and it's going to go down at 9:26.
Coming up, from one red paperclip to a home on the prairies. It's been 20 years since a series of trades gained worldwide fame.
Alrighty, let's take a look at what's going on outside through the live lens of Skycam. It looks pretty pleasant in downtown Saskatoon. Nice shot there. And yeah, I don't say, oh yeah, there we go. Some paddle boarders. There you go. So some people out there on the river recreating. Let's take a look and see what our satellite. Whoa, watch out for that bird, Jeff. We've got ourselves this active weather that's crossing Alberta right now into Saskatchewan. And so there, yes, there may be some thunderstorm activity as we make our way into the next 12 hours. We do have some watches and warnings in effect. We'll talk about those in just a moment. 27 degrees in Saskatoon, close to that in Prince Albert and the Battlefords, both those communities, at 25 degrees, and a little winds are on the moderate side. We'll go with that. The hot spot in the province and the nation, Coronach, that's 38 degrees. Val-Marie, the cold spot at 10. On to our temperatures as they stand now. 22 degrees in Lloydminster, 30 in Swift Current, 33 in in Regina, Estevan, and Yorkton. Into the central part of our province for a closer look. Temperatures range from 33 degrees in Hudson Bay down to 24 degrees. That's in Spiritwood. Many locations in and around that 26-degree mark. Up north, warm conditions there as well in the low to mid-20s. Actually, high 20s if we consider 26 degrees high, but temperatures ranging just 4 degrees from 22 in Stony Rapids up to that 26-degree mark in Buffalo Narrows. It's 25 in Sandy Bay, Island Falls. And down south, we've got ourselves 34 degrees right now in Maple Creek and Coronach. And it cools off to a still quite warm 27 degrees in Outlook, Elbow, and Last Mountain, but lots of places at 30 degrees or warmer in southern Saskatchewan at the moment. So here's the future cast, and we're keeping our eye on this system moving through Alberta into Saskatchewan. And as you can see, the isobar lines, those pressure lines get a little closer together, so we do anticipate some windy conditions. So it could be quite nasty down in the southeastern part of the province as we make our way into tomorrow. On to our watches and warnings right now. So a lot of air quality alerts in place up around Creighton, Pelican Narrows, Sandy Bay, Island Falls. There's a severe thunderstorm warning in place, and then there's heat warnings down in southwestern Saskatchewan. And they bring up this map, and those areas etched in yellow, those are the severe thunderstorm watches. It does include the city of Saskatoon, extending over to like Macklin and then down towards places like Fox Valley and those areas in southern Saskatchewan. So there are some watch boxes and some warnings out there when it comes to severe thunderstorm activity. L'Orange, 24 degrees overnight tomorrow, 19 tomorrow, 20 in Stony Rapids, 19 is not too bad, but it's a little warmer than that in Buffalo Narrows and Key Lake. And Buffalo Narrows, a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. A chance of showers in Kindersley and Rosetown on Thursday, 17 in Kindersley, Rosetown, 20, 22 for Meadow Lake and Spiritwood. Into southern Saskatchewan, the southwestern part of the province, anticipating a lot more in the way of inclement weather. We saw that on the Futurecast. Chance of some thunderstorm activity in Maple Creek. Temperatures in the high teens, low 20s. A little warmer in the southeast. In fact, getting quite warm in Estevan, 28 degrees for a high, but temperatures of around 25 degrees for Yorkton, Regina, and Moose Jaw. And then temperatures of 22 in Melfort, Watrous, and Humboldt, 25 in Hudson Bay under cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. Good chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm tonight in the Battlefords. 11 degrees the overnight temperature, warming up to 20 tomorrow, which is below seasonal. 25 on Friday, Saturday 27, and then a chance of showers on Sunday and Monday, but it is a slight chance. For Prince Albert, the overnight temperature dropping 13 degrees, 10 degrees warmer tomorrow for a high. There's a chance of showers and a risk of thunderstorms in the overnight. 26 degrees on Friday, 27 on Saturday, Sunday 23, and a chance of showers on Monday and a high of 21. And Saskatoon, 13 degrees overnight with a chance of showers and a risk of a thunderstorm. The winds back off, but they really pick up tomorrow. Wind gusts up around 50 clicks with cloudy skies. 22 degrees the expected high. 25 on Friday, Saturday 27, so a warm day there. 23 on Sunday, and then Monday cloudy and a 40% chance of showers and a high of 21. Country singer Madeline Merlo will be joined by Dallas Smith and Tyler Joe Miller in performing at the upcoming Canadian Country Music Association Awards. Nashville trio Restless Road and Illinois-based Alexandra Kay are also set to appear. Nominees for the CCMA Awards will be announced on July 17th. The show will be broadcast on September 13th from Kelowna, BC.
In Canada, his or her worship is for people with this government job, like Scott Gillingham of Winnipeg and Surrey, BC's Brenda Locke. Scott, what is it?
If you said, what is mayor? You would be correct. The mayors of Winnipeg and Surrey getting that shout out on Jeopardy this week. The clue was under That's Honorific for 400. And in case you're wondering, yeah, none of the contestants guessed correctly.
And the most important thing of all to remember, don't let anything in or out.
Another family film franchise, and if you're wondering, it's from courtesy 20th Century Fox. 20th Century. 2000 was reporting getting a rebooted treatment. Yeah, Deadline reports development is underway at 20th Century Studios for a reboot of Night at the Museum and is expected to feature all new characters after Ben Stiller led the three originals between 2006 and 2014. The story is based on a 1993 children's book about a night watchman at a museum where the exhibits come to life after dark. There's no word on a release date.
All right, Jeff, time for Pick of the Day. What do you got?
Well, you got a triple hit. We're going to start off with a pretty classic Saskatchewan scene this time of year. It comes from Kevin Shikoski, and this is canola in flower, and it certainly is just beautiful. If you ever see a canola field right beside a lavender field early in the day, beautiful. There you go. I mean a flax field with lavender colors there. Anyhow, this was taken out at the Saskatoon Airport. This one comes to us from Dave in the Humboldt area. Beautiful sunset while fishing on Lake Lenore Lake, and that is a gorgeous shot. Hope the fishing was good for you, Dave. And finally, from Jen Hepner, or as I call her, the queen of birthday greetings. Jen sends us this one. Happy 21st birthday to Mackenzie. Lots of loves from Bailey, Lennox, and Kieran, and Mom, Dad, and Jen. And so we'd like to say happy 21st birthday to you as well, Mackenzie. So I hope you're having a great day. And if you'd like to share an image with us, you can do so by sending it to cfqcnews@ctv.ca. Hey, hey.
Still to come on CTV News, the Riders prepare for a big matchup against a bitter rival. But up next, how a Saskatchewan community is marking a fun milestone. This week marks 20 years since a man from Montreal embarked on a mission to trade a red paperclip for a house. It took 14 trades over the next year before he reached his goal of taking ownership of a house in Kipling. As Wayne Mantika tells us, the community is now making plans to mark an event that brought worldwide attention.
Jennifer Edwards is driving from Ontario to British Columbia and stopping at roadside attractions along the way.
And I
I looked online to see what unique monuments were on the way, and this was one of them. So I came down to check it out and go, cool.
In July of 2005, Kyle McDonald from Montreal set out to trade a red paperclip for a house. He made 14 online deals before Kipling offered the final trade that he was looking for.
And I happened to have a wonderful bunch of counselors who basically said, this sounds weird enough, it just might work.
The town owned a house on Main Street, which had traded for a part in a movie produced by Corbin Burnson.
He did the official trade, and he was very excited, as was his girlfriend, Dominique.
McDonald and his girlfriend stayed only briefly before giving the home back to the community. That's when Billy Johnson noticed tour buses stopping in front of the vacant house and turned it into a restaurant.
My mom and I, who's a Red Seal chef, and I decided we weren't quite ready to not work anymore. I had 2 young kids, so we decided to put the restaurant here.
Kipling will celebrate the red paperclip anniversary next summer because that will be 20 years since it made the final trade. The community is still making plans, but it might invite all 14 traders to the town for a reunion and a thank you for placing Kipling on the map. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Kipling.
When we come back, what the riders need to do to stay undefeated. Then forget the radio. This highway plays the music for you.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at our rural forecast for tomorrow. And as you can see, temperatures a little on the cooler side in some parts of the province. We'll be dealing with at least the potential for showers and the risk of thunderstorms, and some places may be a little windier than others. So let's take a closer look. Yes, as you can see, Outlook, Kindersley, Lloydminster, all anticipating some shower activity. Not the case for Spiritwood, Meadow Lake, Melfort, Hudson Bay, Wynyard. Those are expected to be mainly cloudy, 23 degrees, so relatively warm in Hudson Bay. So yes, the western side of the province a bit on the cooler side. Then the east. The east is at seasonal or above. Then we get into some dicier situation rather, in southern Saskatchewan and south central, southwestern parts of the province. Chances of thunderstorms, a chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm. We saw that on the Futurecast. You could certainly see that one sort of impulse making its way across southern Saskatchewan, and so that could be a real issue. And will it be an issue for Strasbourg? Not really. Mainly cloudy skies, 24, but a bit on the breezy side, and Strasbourg is where internet plans of the 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Welcome to another edition of X's and O's with Wes Cates as we get set for the Friday night showdown versus the Calgary Stampeders. Riders 4-0, Stamps 3-1. So this is essentially for first place in the West Division West. And let's talk a little bit about the Riders' running game. First off, AJ Ouellette leading the league in rushing yards right now, and Calgary giving up the third most rushing yards by their defense. I mean, it seems like we talk about it every week, but the rushing game is probably going to be pretty pivotal in this matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I think AJ Ouellette's gotten off to a great start, Lee, and then you talk about the O-line coming out, you know, having some injuries, but that's kind of typical for the Riders at this stage for the last few years. But this O-line's been gelling. They've been coming together. Guys have been stepping in as necessary. I heard there might be a little more shuffling this week, but I think they'll be fine. So stick to what's been working. Obviously, you're going against a shakier run defense, so until the Stamps show they can stop the Riders, which they did a good job against Winnipeg last week, but until the Stamps can show that they can stop the Riders, I think you focus on the run game and play action and pass off of that.
Yeah, they did a good job against Oliveira, but we saw some big runs earlier in the season against Calgary, so we'll see. Passing game, Trevor Harris likely back into the lineup, but he's got to be careful. There are some ball hawks right now in this Stamps defense. A couple of touchdowns from interceptions against Winnipeg last week, one from Moncrief, so they're really stepping up and looking like a good defense after a huge change in their defensive scheme and personnel.
Yeah, Lee, I was really surprised at how the Stamps played against Winnipeg last week. It was kind of like that game, and then also the Hamilton game. It was kind of like it flipped the league on its head. But the Stamps defense looked great last week against a really good Winnipeg offense. So I'm expecting Derek Moncrief, you know, his family His wife's family is from here, so I think he's going to come ready to play. I'm expecting him to maybe make some plays, but I think that should let the Riders maybe attack him a bit, hit him with some double moves, and maybe try to exploit his aggressiveness and the aggressiveness that Calgary defense is playing with right now, and that confidence. If you hit him with some double moves, maybe you catch a guy jumping something short and get the big play over top. So I am a little interested to see how that chess match as far as the Riders' offense against Calgary's new and improved defense goes.
Calgary's offense led by their running attack. Mills running extremely well for them. And with Vernon Adams Jr., he is a mobile quarterback. That's been a problem for the Riders in the past. They've got to be careful that he doesn't get out of the pocket. Yeah,
VA has done some damage against the Riders over the years, and I think that is something to worry about. And it looks like he's kind of going into one of those VA streaks where he kind of has 4 or 5 games where he plays really well and then maybe slumps off. I've never seen him put a whole season together, but he's a great quarterback, a lot of athletic ability, is a great team leader, and when he's feeling it, that team can really go. So I think, Mills, I'm not as worried about that Calgary running game, but it's definitely something that I think the Riders defense obviously prides themselves on stopping the run. So I think they're going to focus on Mills and hopefully kind of shut him up in that first half and then kind of see how VA and the offense adjust to that.
We'll see how their offense, they've been out. Bagleton was out last couple games now because of a long-term injury, so he won't be in their lineup, their top receiver. So we'll see. Can the Riders remain undefeated? We'll analyze that game and look forward to next week on another edition of X's and O's.
NVIDIA hit a milestone today. Marella Fernandez has more on that and other business headlines.
NVIDIA has become the most valuable company in history. It's the first to be valued at more than $4 trillion, hitting that mark during the course of the trading day. The tech company's stock is up 22% this year. Its chips vital to the rollout of artificial intelligence. The previous record was held by Apple, which soared to $3.9 billion in market cap in December of 2024. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar dropped slightly to 73.03. West Texas Intermediate also had a small dip to 68.60. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it up 54 cents to 56.30. And the TSX is up 68 points today, ending the day at 26,972. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
Turning to local gas prices now, the average price in Saskatoon currently just over $1.34 a litre. The lowest price in town, $1.22.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day down at $97.95 and Nutrien was up. Coming up, an unusual bear is back for a visit. Then a unique road providing the tunes for motorists.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us for another great night of television coming up right here on CTV starting at 7 o'clock with Master Chef. Well, an unusual polar bear in the Churchill area of Manitoba has returned with a surprise this summer.
She came around the point and then out pops a cub we didn't even know was in tow.
That might not seem exceptional, but area residents didn't expect this bear to survive long after it was first spotted in 2021. That's because Tripod is missing part of her hind leg. Every July, polar bears come off the ice of Hudson's Bay. They can't get back out until December to hunt seals, but mother polar bears often travel around 100 kilometers inland to make a den, and they go much longer without food. So,
wow.
Special visitor returns. Yeah. All right. Well, if you're ever visiting the United Arab Emirates and you don't like your car mate's choice of music, just roll down your windows. A stretch of the E84 highway actually plays music. When cars drive along a special strip on the right-hand side of the road, they will hear Beethoven's Ode to Joy. To get the song just right, drivers are recommended to go exactly 100 kilometers an hour. Incentive to not speed, I guess.
There we go.
I like that. That's cool. All right, you got some weather to talk about?
Well, it's not weather. It's more of a correction.
Well,
You know, it's like,
yes,
we had one of our viewers, Sean, contacted us and said, no raccoons on the Friendly Giant. There was only Jerome the Giraffe and Rusty the Rooster.
Well,
now those,
because you were talking about that
exactly, we were talking about them. You know, the raccoons. We had them on the show, and it's like, and you know what? The bottom line is that we maybe weren't clear on this. We're only talking about the raccoons.
You were talking about the
raccoons in the music room. And I didn't know they had names, but it turns out mostly there was like the two cats in there, but sometimes the raccoons showed up and they were called Polly and Piper. And you can see pictures of them on the internet. So Sean, you're right about Rusty and Jerome, that's for sure.
Thanks for watching.